Hello, hello, hello. Oh gosh. Okay. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ariana Byrne. I'm 21 and I'm from Dublin. Dublin! I'm from Dublin. Anyways, excuse the state of the no makeup and the gym wear, but like I actually couldn't give two flying. I always wanted to make a YouTube and I just never really kind of knew where to start. Like I was gonna do like, you know, the get to know me videos and stuff like that, but I decided to use my brain story as my first video. It's something that people can get to know me by. I can raise awareness and, you know, just get out there. Got my cup on tea for my shy talk. Okay, so basically when I was born at 29 weeks. I was 3 months premature. I was a twin and my twin brother Jared passed away. My mum's waters broke on me. I can't remember, I think it was like at 19 weeks or something. So basically when I was born then it was very traumatic. Made an entrance into this world. Then growing up, everything was good. I had asthma, which was like luckily the only thing that I suffered with as a child. And then when I was around 14, 15, I started to suffer really bad with generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety disorder. Everyone has anxiety in some way or another. But with about 14 and 15, I was extremely bad, like extremely bad. And it's taken me up until now to finally kind of learn how to cope with it and stuff like that, but that's for another video. So yeah, basically when I was in 5th year I started to get extremely bad headaches at the back of my head, so here, and I was real tense, like my neck was sore and the bottom part of my head was always sore. So I think I went to the doctors like 3 times and I was like, there's something wrong, like what's wrong? And I just got told it was from the leaving cert. I was stressed, I needed to exercise, it was a migraine. Okay, so I was told that from 5th to 6th year constantly. It was getting to the stage as well, like where the pain was so bad, like say if I stood up real quick, I'd get like a real shooting kind of shocking pain. It's a pain that I can never explain. Like even to the doctors, I'm like, it's a shocking, weird pain, like at the back of my head, and like it kind of makes me go like that a little bit for a second. Max, stop! Yeah, so I was suffering with headaches all the time. I also was sleeping excessively, like I mean, I was tired constantly, like 24/7. Last year, mostly, it was actually like causing issues with my life. Like I couldn't, oh, stupid bra. Did it. No, I'm only joking. It was getting to the point like where I couldn't go on a night out if I didn't have a sleep before. I couldn't literally function in college if I didn't have a nap for 4 hours the day before. So it was getting like really bad, and I was having arguments with my family because they're putting it down to laziness and stuff like that. And obviously I suffered with my mental health as well. So in the past, when I told the doctors I sleep all the time, they were like, oh, it's anxiety, it's depression, you need to run, you need to go to the gym, you need to exercise. And I was like, no, the tiredness I'm feeling is not mentally tiring. My body is constantly crying out for sleep. I started to get, so like these, how I explain it is, you know, bubble wrap. So you know if you put your head, like your face was a bubble wrap. It was like a little bubble wrap thing coming over my right eye. It completely covered my vision. Like I could see, but not, I couldn't see. Do you get me? It was like I was looking through bubble wrap. Yeah, and that was so frustrating and so confusing because it would happen to me about 15 to 20 times a day, and I'd just have to keep blinking until it went away. Now I wear glasses, so I put that down to I need to wear my glasses more. That didn't change. So I went to my doctor anyway about the vision, because it was coming in on both my eyes then. And it was so frustrating. Like, say if I was in college or in work, I'd be like this and rub my eye, and it wouldn't go, and then it'd come back 3 minutes later. So I didn't know what it was. I wasn't kind of scared in the slightest, apart from I went to my GP and he said to me, you need to go to the eye and ear hospital. And I was like, that's no problem. But when I checked, he sent me to Tala first. But when I opened the letter on the way to the car, it said to test for MS, which was absolutely terrifying, like terrifying. So anyway, I went to Tala and then they sent me to the eye and ear hospital. And when I was sent there, they told me I was having ocular migraines. So basically I was having symptoms of migraines without an actual migraine. So they were like, you're like, this is just something you'll have to live with. So I was being told that I had to be tested for MS. Then I didn't have MS. Then it was an ocular migraine, but I actually don't get migraines ever. And that I have to live with these visual disturbances every day. And it was so frustrating because no one, like, I know my body and I knew something wasn't right, and I was like, this isn't normal. I shouldn't be getting an ocular migraine. So anyways, time passed. I just kind of suck it up and didn't let it bother me that much. Just kind of took it in my stride. Was it last summer? Yeah, last summer I kept waking up during the night and my whole left arm would be completely numb. Like, I mean completely numb. I'd be whacking it off the bed to try and wake my arm up. I'd be picking it up with this arm and slamming it. I'd be pinching it. I'd be doing everything in my power. And it wasn't even like pins and needles. It was numb. Like, I couldn't feel anything. And I was putting that down to the way I was sleeping. Even though I sleep on my side, I was like, oh, maybe during the night I'm like resting on my hand. Oh, I'm resting on my arm or something. And then I said it to my mom and she was like, oh, just keep an eye on it. So it kept on happening, and I was like, Jesus Christ, like, what way am I sleeping? So then one day I remember I was in town and the left hand side of my face went completely numb. Like, completely numb. My tongue went numb and my mouth went numb. So I was having trouble swallowing, and it was terrifying. And I rang my mom and I said, I'm gonna call myself an ambulance. Because of my previous history with a clot, I thought I was having a stroke. So I said, I'm gonna call myself an ambulance, and she thought I was just trying to get out of work the next day. So she was like, oh, of course, like, you're doing this now the way you're in work in the morning. And I was like, no, like seriously, there's something wrong. So then obviously she got a fright and stuff. So she collected me from the bus stop and I came in, and I remember, and I sat down and I literally cried and I said, something isn't right. And then I was getting numb in my left leg. So it was my left leg, my left arm, my face, the left hand side of my face, my mouth, my headaches and my visual disturbances. So all of this adding up, I was like, there's something wrong with my body. There's something not okay. Jesus, there's just so much I can't even think. The numbness. Oh yeah. Okay, so then I was sent to A&E. Again in Tala. They fucking loved me in Tala A&E. And I was told that I was going numb in my left hand side of my body because I was lacking in vitamin B12. And I remember going home the next day in the car and I said, these people aren't even listening to me. I'm 21. I'm going numb. I have severe headaches for years. She told me. She asked me, what's my diet like? And I was like, well, like, my diet's shite. And she was like, oh, well, you should be eating less chicken wings. And I was like what? Like, oh. Sometimes, like, it can be hard to talk about and stuff, you know, because I've actually been through so much, and when I kind of stop and think about it all and think about how this problem could have been resolved years ago, I do get annoyed and disheartened and stuff, but everything happens for a reason. It was then getting worse and worse and worse, so I went back to A&E again. I seen a doctor. He done a full neurological examination, so you know, like touching your nose, touching their fingers, the balance, my reflexes and stuff, and everything was normal. And my mom, I remember my mom sitting there and she started crying and she said, she's not okay, there's something wrong. Like she sleeps and sleeps and sleeps, like she sleeps for 4 hours. And he turned around and he said, so do I, everyone's tired. And I looked at him and I was like, you're a doctor, you're doing 12, 13, 14 hour shifts. I'm a student who I work, 18 hours a week, and my class at 20 hours a week. Like, our tiredness shouldn't be the same. Whatever was wrong with me would eventually show up in the future. He said there's a list of things, a list of possibilities. He said it could be MS, but the MS might not show up for a few years. He basically said, oh, one day you'll get a result and you'll say, oh, that's what it was. So again, I was just sent home. And like thinking back on that now, I'm angry. I'm so angry. Like I'm so angry because like I think my symptoms were just coming, and I went to my GP and he said, okay, look, I think it's MS. I'm going to send you for a brain scan. And he said, I don't want you to wait publicly. I want it done privately because we need to know. And I remember sitting in his office and I was like, oh my God, I feel so relieved. Like, God forbid it's MS, but this man is listening to me. He's telling me he wants urgent results. He's given me a possible outcome, a possible illness. And I took it like, I remember I took the news and I just said to myself, okay, if I do have MS, this is my life. It's 2019, medication and science is great. There's so many life-changing things out nowadays that if I did have it, I'd be able to cope. So he referred me on to a neurosurgeon in the Hermitage Clinic called Dr. Donica O'Brien. He also is a neurosurgeon in Beaumont. We went and visited him, and basically he told me I had an excess amount of fluid in the middle of the ventricles of my brain. So, excuse the drawing, but so just say this is my brain. This was the fluid. I remember it was the image of a butterfly. And that should not be there. So, first of all, I was delighted because I was like, thank good fucking Jesus Christ, God forbid. Like, there actually is something wrong. And he also diagnosed me with a thing called Chiari malformation, which basically means the cerebellum at the back of my brain, which controls your speech, coordination, balance and stuff like that, is hanging 17 millimeters out of my skull. So it's actually sitting on my spinal cord. So he said that the headaches will be coming from that and the numbness and stuff. So it was finally like an answer, and I was delighted. And then he told me that I'd need 2 brain surgeries. One would be to put a shunt in, and the next would be to fix the Chiari malformation. But he said the first operation with the shunt, that could eliminate all of my symptoms, and then I wouldn't need the second Chiari malformation operation. So basically, I knew I was having brain surgery and I knew what was wrong, and I was just so relieved. I was so relieved. But then, like, my symptoms were just getting worse and worse, and I was in so much pain all of the time. And he basically, I went to my appointment with him and he said, I want you done ASAP. And I was like, okay, like how soon? And he was like, oh, in the next few weeks. And I was like, okay. And he said, Ariane, if you didn't catch this now, he said, within 6 months, I would have been dead. And he said, he goes, you either would have fallen into a coma. He said, I'd never woken up. He said, like, you could have easily said you wanted to go for a nap and just never woken up from those naps. Or he said, I could have just died, like. And I remember walking out of his office and I was like, I remember walking out and I was thinking, how on earth is that fair? Like, how on earth is that fair? Imagine if I didn't catch it. Imagine if I didn't keep fighting against the health system and against all these A&E doctors saying that I want answers, and like I can't even think about it. I can't even think about it because it's disgusting. So yeah, about 3 weeks ago I got a call to say that I'd be admitted into Beaumont Hospital on the 19th of March and to have my surgery on the 20th. So I'm 11 days post-surgery. I left my hair down. Today was my first day that I could wash, blow dry, straighten my hair. So it's covering the scarring. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. Okay, well, anyway, if you can't, I'll pop in a picture. So yeah, I was admitted and everything was great. The surgery, I was shitting myself, but the surgery was grand. And then, so I had my surgery on the Wednesday and was sent home on the Friday. Then on the Saturday, things took a turn for the worst. Sorry, just reading my notifications. I felt extremely ill. Like, extremely ill. I couldn't talk. I couldn't stand. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't do anything. And I remember waking up and the pressure and the pain I felt in my head. I was saying I'm dying. Like, I literally, I thought I was on my way out. And I texted my mom and I said, ring the hospital, I need to go. So my uncle came over and put me in the back of the car and I just slept the whole way till I got there. They put me into a wheelchair, popped me into A&E. I will never forget the discomfort that I felt. I couldn't sit still. I was roaring crying with the pain. Like, if I had been there in A&E and watched someone else what I went through, I'd demand, like, for them to be seen first. Like, it was urgent. It was an emergency. And my mom was crying. Everyone was crying. My mom went up to the nurse and she said, I know, like, there's people in front, but please, like, my daughter really isn't well. So the neurosurgeon told me before I left the hospital that I'm 6 weeks recovery, but I have to stay lying down because my body needs to adjust to the new pressure in my head with the shunt. So if I sat up for 20 to 30 minutes, I'd have to lie down then because I'd be in so much pain. So I was sitting in this wheelchair in the waiting room for like an hour, and I even get emotional thinking about it because I'll never forget how much pain I was in. So they brought me in and I couldn't speak. I was just like, I was literally like this. And I remember just hearing my mom cry and I was like, Mom, like, stop crying. I'm okay. And I thought to myself, like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm not gonna leave this hospital. And I remember thinking, like, what have I done to deserve all this? Like, what have I done? So they brought me in, and I was put on a chair in the A&E department along with everyone else, and I was puking and I was puking and I was puking and I was puking and I was puking, and there was nothing in my stomach, so I was literally just puking up the lining of my stomach and bile. Like, and I remember thinking, I was like, please, like, just let me collapse, just so I'm out of the pain. And in that moment I was thinking, Ariana, how selfish are you to even wish that you'd collapse? But I was in so much pain that my body just couldn't take it. So they needed to do blood tests then, and my veins wouldn't give any blood. So I don't know if you can see. They literally poked me from here to here, 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 and to here. All in like the space of 2 minutes, because my veins just wouldn't give blood. My veins kept collapsing. They then came to here, to here, to here, to here, and to here. So in this moment, I'm stuck in A&E, I'm vomiting, I'm in so much pain, my veins aren't giving blood. And I remember holding the nurse's hand, and I said, please, here, I was like, my mom said I just kept doing this. I was like, please, someone help me, please, someone help me. And I said to her, can you please put me asleep? And she was like, oh, we're going to give you some painkillers, like, you'll get seen to soon. I was then brought in, put on a trolley, and then taken out of the trolley, put back on the chair. Like, and I look at the nurse and the doctors, and I'm so grateful. Like, I'm so grateful. Their jobs, the conditions that they work in is absolutely horrendous. And like, I'm not thinking and saying about the A&E like it's a disgrace that I was left waiting, because I'm the same as anyone else. Do you know that way? Everyone else is there waiting and needs to be seen to. But yeah, so I got seen to, and they said they wanted to keep me in again. So I got a needle in my bum. I had like 4 bags of drips because I was so dehydrated. I was on like a morphine based tablet. I was on tramadol. I was on absolutely everything you can think of for the pain. I was still puking. I was brought in for a CT scan and a x-ray. I couldn't stand up for the x-ray. I puked all over the x-ray when she made me stand up. And like, I remember just lying in that bed and I was sweating. And I mean, I was sweating. I was shoving off the blankets. But my mum said I was absolutely freezing. And it was just terrifying for everyone. So my mum, my dad, my nana, my auntie, my uncle were all up with me. And every single one of them thought I was dying. Like, how do you sit in a hospital and go through that? Like, do you know what I mean? And including me, I thought I was dying as well. Yeah, so basically they said they need to keep me in, to keep an eye on me. So my mum stayed with me in A&E for the full night. And they basically, what happened, so long story short, what happened was the shunt is put in, so it's put in just above my ear. It runs through my head, through my neck. You can see it sometimes if I do this. Okay, you can't. Sorry. Through my chest and into my stomach. There. So it drains all the excess fluid into my stomach. But basically, so obviously I'm born like this. I was born like that. So I was used to having a high pressure in my brain and not a normal low pressure. So basically what he said was he was draining the fluid too quick. So my shunt is like programmable and my setting was at 120, so it was draining the fluid way too quick, giving me like too much low pressure in my head. My body couldn't put up with it, and that's what happened. Basically my body went into shock and I got so sick. So I was kept in for an extra 2 days then, and they changed the program on my shunt up to 160. And since I've gotten home, I'm feeling so much better. I feel like a new person. So that's basically the whole story. And I know it's very long-winded and it's grim, but I can't emphasize or stress enough how important it is to listen to your body. Listen. Even if it's the tiniest thing, fight for it. Look after yourself. Believe in yourself. Don't think, oh, just because the doctor said this, they're right, because no. It's not always the chance. I've bet death twice now, and I'm only 21. And it's all because I literally listened to my body, and I listened to what was wrong, and I fought for myself. And I'm so grateful for all the doctors and the nurses that actually did listen, and they did look after me, my family, my friends. The support that I've gotten is absolutely overwhelming. And people kept asking me, how are you so positive? And my answer to that is, people always have it so much more worse. There's kids with cancer, there's kids starving, there's people who don't even leave hospital. So for me to have something and then get a solution for it, and to eventually feel how I feel today, is just remarkable. Like, I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. And I look back on the days and I think, Jesus, like how did I take like little things for granted? And my whole outlook on life has completely changed. And I'm just so happy and grateful to still be here. So yeah, so that's my story. For anyone who actually listened to the very end, fair play. Tap on the back for you. So yeah, thanks so much. Any questions, feel free to send me a message, and like and share my video, please. Goodbye.